Hey everyone, thank you for joining our session today on creating great apps without the CS degree using Power Apps. So my name is Megan Madeline. I'm a community advocacy program manager in the developer relations team, and I work closely with developer and technical communities all across the Asia region. And my role is really to help communities and make them more awesome. So before we get started today, I just wanted to call out, you'll see in the online chat, there is a code of conduct that has been posted. Everyone is here for the same reason, and we all want it to be a safe and pleasant environment. So make sure you have a read through of the code of conduct, and if you have any questions, just post them in the chat. So I also wanted to call out that I don't actually have a computer science degree. So Power Apps is really, it's a low code or no code business and development application platform, which anyone can use. It's a great way for anyone to just give it a try without having to know how to code. I'm really excited that I'm going to be joined today by Amy Breen. She's an amazing student from the University of Technology, Sydney. Amy and I met a couple of months back as part of a mentoring program run through her university for female students in engineering. And Amy's going to do our demo today. She's been working on Power Apps just for the last few weeks, and she's going to share a demo with you on a research app that she's been working on. So, and the last thing I just wanted to do is actually acknowledge there's a heap of people working in the background. So we've got some great moderators in the back end, and Shane, our producer, doing some great work to make this session possible. So if you do have any questions throughout the session, I really encourage you to post them in the online chat. And then if time permits, we'll get through them at the end, or our moderators will take care of them during the session. So, let's get started with our agenda. So what are Power Apps is the first thing that we'll talk about. We've only got a 30-minute session, so really I'll be able to take you through some of the basics in terms of the tooling of this low-code development platform. I'll also cover some top tips about the things you need to think about to get started when you're building your first app. Amy will then take you through a demo of an app that she's created to help her with some research that she wanted to do across her student buddies. I'll then share some resources to help you get started, and then we'll wrap up with any questions you might have. As I said, with questions, feel free to post them in the chat and our moderators will get through to them. So moving right along with Power Apps. So developing apps is sometimes seen as complex, costly, or time consuming. And if you're like me, you think it's something that you don't really have the skill set to do. And really, I've never actually had much interest in learning how to code. But using this approach, known as low-code development, anyone can create apps for web or mobile devices without the traditional coding skills. It's simple enough for beginners, and you can actually get really sophisticated features for those who do work maybe as a professional developer in an organisation that's perhaps an enterprise or a startup. In any scenarios, Power Apps reduce the amount of work that's involved in getting an app up and running for any of us. With the simple interface, you can create apps that either digitize paper processes, collect and share data, or really just streamline the way that you work. And that's all without learning to code or having a computer science degree. There are a heap of building blocks as part of the Power Apps platform, and they include things like custom connectors, components, and the Power Apps component framework, which are some of the things I'll cover a bit later. There are two areas that I wanted to call out that in terms of the tooling that will really help you get started building your app. So app templates in Power Apps are a great way to jumpstart the creation of an app, and you can really make sure and ensures you can deploy it straight away. These templates create really polished and a finished app, and in many cases it creates an Excel file so that the app can just be used straight away. Each template can be customized in a color or design, whatever it is based on your own creativity, or you can build your own, and that's what's known as a canvas template or a canvas app, which is really similar to a blank canvas that an artist may start out with when they're going to do a painting or something. You really just need to quite easily get started, navigate to the create page in the Maker portal, and it will show you all the available templates. Data is the core of most of the apps, including those that you build in Power Apps. So data is stored in a data source, and you bring that data into your app by creating a connection. So the connection uses a specific connector to talk to that data source. You can think of connectors as a bridge from your data source to your app, which allows information to be conveyed back and forth. Connectors allow you to extend your app across platforms and really add functionality for your users. Power Apps has connectors for many popular services and data sources, so Office 365, Salesforce, or more commercially consumer-known data sources such as Twitter, Facebook, or Slack. Connectors are divided into standard or premium. So some popular standard connectors are things like SharePoint, Outlook, or YouTube. And some of the premium connectors you might have heard of are like SQL Server, SurveyMonkey. These premium connectors do require some additional licensing for you as a Power App creator or perhaps for your users. So in summary, in terms of the functionality of the tooling, there are some really key things around Power Apps that you want to remember that will make creating your Power App, the first one, really easy. So that's templates to help you get started. A lot of hard work is already done for you. There's connections. There is about 350 or so connectors when I checked earlier today, and they're all available data sources that you can use, and they're growing all the time. Some of the functionality that you may be familiar with, like drag and drop, is really something you can leverage from other skills of other programs that you may have worked with. And for things like, there's a functionality of like a formula toolbar, like as in Excel, that you can use if you wanted to dig deeper into some of the apps that you're working on. So now that we've covered some of the tooling, I wanted to talk about some tips that really help you to get started with creating your first Power App. And don't worry, I've collected all this information into a blog post, and that link up the top, aka.ms/powerappstips, is where you can find all that information along with some resources. So whether you are a business user, a career changer, or a student, really anyone who wants to get started with Power Apps, these tips will really help you with the creativity and how to plan your app. So the first one I want to talk about is knowing your tools. So Power Apps helps you turn ideas into solutions by enabling you to build custom apps that solve a particular challenge. So you may be familiar with tools like PowerPoint, Excel, or maybe even SharePoint. You'll find working in Power Apps pretty similar. The user interface will be similar, and it's really user-friendly. And things like the drag and drop that I just mentioned is an example of this. The second area is the tip is to start small. So think of a really well-defined task for your app to perform and get a clear idea of the outcomes you're trying to solve for or what success looks like. Thinking about creating a solution is a lot easier when you know what the actual problem is. This lets you dive right into playing around, but helps you stay focused on what you're trying to build. The third one is knowing your audience. So understanding the problem you are trying to solve and the data that you're going to use is really important. But then that final piece of the puzzle to creating your app is knowing who's going to use your app and how. So if you're familiar with your intended users, it's usually pretty easy to work out if they are likely to access the app through a phone, a tablet, or a browser. But sometimes you need to do a bit of research. So for instance, what devices do they use? How are they going to use this app? How much effort do they want to put into using the app? All the sorts of questions that you may need that may help you shape the type of app that you create. You need to just put yourself in the shoes of the users to really make your app successful. The fourth tip today is about finding your tribe, and this one's really close to my heart because it talks about the community. So you don't need to go it alone. There's a really active community of users and experts who are eager to help. This could be through student ambassadors, or if you currently know of some Microsoft MVPs, they're all a great resource of people that were willing to help. There's local meetups or user groups, or plenty of online forums and community boards where you can get to know other people who are working on the same things and perhaps having the same challenges and know the answers. The fifth one and the last one is about learning. There are heaps of formal and informal learning resources available through Microsoft Learn, where you can pick some modules or a learning path around Power Apps fundamentals, or getting started with Canvas apps is another one. If there's a specific feature you want to learn more about, Microsoft Docs has a huge amount of documentation to walk you through step by step. There is always local or international events like Ignite, and these are usually run online now, particularly in this era of COVID, so you can watch them live or even catch them on demand. Whatever your learning style, there really is plenty of ways that you can learn more. So that was just a really short overview of Power Apps and how you can get started. I'm now going to hand over to Amy, who is going to run you through a demo of a research app she built and tell you how she did it. So over to you, Amy.
Thank you for that introduction, Megan. I am going to run you through how I created an app. So I have an app that I have created, but first of all, we're going to run through the process of creating an app. So let's imagine we are the events manager of a student society. For this one, I've chosen a camping society because I think camping's cool. So we're going to go to the make.powerapps website, and here is an environment where you can see I've created some apps before, but we're going to create a new app. So I'm going to go to the apps section of that on the make.powerapps app, and I'm going to click on new app, and I'm going to use a canvas model. So we're going to click on that one, and while it's loading, we've got some decisions to make. So I know for my student society, most of the people who are going to do this survey that I want to make are going to access it through a phone. So once we get to this page here, I'm going to click that I want to use a phone layout. And then we get to this page, and you can see there's lots of templates we can use. You can also design an app from scratch, but using a template is super easy. So here I'm going to choose the employee engagement survey just because it's a survey and that's the type of app I want to create. So it already has questions and answers set up. And here down the bottom, we've got the place where it's going to put the sample data. So I've got here that it's going to be in my Google Drive, but I want to change that so that it goes into my OneDrive. So we're going to select OneDrive, and that's where it's going to put the data for my app. Cool. So once we've done that, we can click on the survey template and click use. And that's loading. So all of the work is done by Power Apps, so we don't really have to do much, which is super simple. And as Megan was saying before, I've only just started learning this a few weeks ago, and it was really easy to pick up. So it's still loading a bit. All right, you can do a bit of a walk through the app, but we're going to skip that for now. And we're just going to get on to changing and customizing the app. So you can see once we're in here, it's got some pages down the bottom. These are called screens, and it's got some sample text in there at the moment. First of all, I want to change the title of my app. So I'm going to click in here, and we're creating a research survey app for members of my camping society. So I'm going to call this a member survey. Cool. And now that's changed. That was super easy. So if it's just a title, you can just change the text on the screen. Then we get to the landing screen. So this part says on my app, let's make this a little bit bigger. It's got this survey consists of 5 questions, and the progress is tracked at the top of each screen. So this is just some sample data, but I really want to change this text to make it a bit more friendly. So we're going to go and find the Excel file that it dropped into my OneDrive. So here in my OneDrive, it's created a file called Power Apps, and then it's got employee engagement survey, and I'm going to click into this and we can find the Excel file where it's got the sample data. And then it's loading. So down here, we can go to the welcome note part. And we've got here, the progress is tracked at the top of each screen. So that's the message that we're seeing on the app now. But I want to change it to say, please fill out these questions. So we can get to know you better. So you could change your text to anything, but you've just got to change it in the Excel file. Cool, so once we've updated that, then we need to go to data. This was the bit that I found a little bit tricky, but once I got past this, it was really easy to use. And then once we're in data, we've got to click refresh selected connection. Well, that's not going to work. Let's do refresh all connections. So that's just going to refresh this. Then if we navigate back to our app, we want to change this text. So it hasn't yet updated, even though we've updated the text on the Excel file. So we need to go to view up the top here, then click on data sources. And then we change the text in the welcome note. So if we hover over this, 3 little buttons turn up here. We can click on them and click refresh. And perfect, it's worked. We have now updated the text down here. So now it says what we want it to say. You can also do that for the other screens down here. So the next part of this, it's a survey template. So it's got the questions and answers already done for us, but we want to change the question and the answers to better suit our camping society. So we're going to go back to our Excel file. We're going to click on questions first, and it says, what is your role? So that doesn't apply to my society, but I want to know what events my members are interested in. So let's say, what events are you most interested in? Let's put a question mark there. Perfect. And then, so this is question 1. It's super easy to navigate because it's got a 1 here. And then we're going to go to the options page and we're going to change all the answers to question 1. So my members might be interested in networking events. They might be interested in online events only because it's been a bit of a weird year. They might be interested in trivia because everyone likes trivia. They might be interested in a games night. And they might be interested in some skills to do with camping or something else. So let's type that in. And then again, before it updates in our app, we have to refresh all of the connections. And then we can go back to the app that we just created, go to data, then click on questions and the 3 little buttons, and then click refresh. Perfect, it's updated, and we want to refresh the options as well. Awesome. So now that's worked, we're going to move this down a bit so we can see. And so that's how you update everything that's already in the template. So if you want to update the text, you just pop it into the Excel file. And if you wanted to preview your app, you can click on this little play button up here, and it would show you what your app would look like for your student society. Now we're going to move over to an app that I created a bit earlier. So you can see same layout, but I've just customized it a little bit more. So I've changed the color because I thought blue would be a bit fitting. But if we wanted to change it to green, we could go up to fill here and change the background to green. And we've got all of our screens down here. So let's have a little look at what the app is going to look like. So we've got we've pressed play and we've got what the app's going to look like for our users. So we can click get started and it's got buttons to navigate down here. We've changed the text. Cool. And then, so the first question we get asked is what events are you most interested in? I might be most interested in a movie night. Click next. As part of my research, I might want to know what days my members are at uni. So let's click Tuesday and Friday. They've also got lots of different ways to answer questions in the app. So here you can see there's a slider and the question is how many online events have you attended? So maybe I've attended 6 or 5. So lots of different ways to answer the questions. I am comfortable attending events on campus. And you can add in sections like this where your members get to answer with text. So I might say, thanks for making this survey. Cool. And then the last cool thing that I've done at the end is there's these buttons down here. And if I wanted to refer someone in my student society to become a member, I've got this button down here and I've linked it to the website where my student members can sign up to become a member. So you've got that there. So there's heaps of options where you can customize your app. And you've got, you can add new screens up the top here, or if you wanted to insert buttons and text, you could do that. And then the only other tip I have for you is if you insert a button, it's good to have a look at this action bit up here and deciding where your button is going to lead your user. So if you want it to navigate to the next screen, you just hit navigate and it's super easy to do that. So I might start handing back over to Megan now. Thanks for watching my little demonstration of the app. I learned everything on Microsoft Learn. So it was super easy to use and yep, super cool.
That's awesome. Thank you, Amy. And such a brilliant demo for someone who's only just started using Power Apps. I'm so thrilled with the demo and what you've been able to achieve in such a short time. So thank you so much for helping us all learn a bit more about Power Apps. So as you can see, just a few resources to get you started. As I mentioned earlier, you can go to the aka.ms short link where I've listed all these resources, but Community Plan is a great place to start. If you're concerned about licensing, if you have a school or work Office 365 account, you'll likely already have licensing available for using Power Apps. If you don't, there's a 30-day free trial that most people can use. I think perhaps there's some exceptions in China, but otherwise there's a great free trial that will get you started. Microsoft Learn, it's a great resource that Microsoft provides. Online training, free for anyone. I highly suggest you check it out for some Power Apps learning or any products across the Microsoft platform. User groups and finding your tribe on Twitter, hashtag Power Addicts, you can join the conversation there. It's a great place to be. So video tutorials, again, they're a different way of learning, but most of those come from our communities, and there's all the galleries with a lot of templates and tutorials you can use. So that concludes our presentation today. So I can't see if there's any questions in the chat, but maybe one of our moderators could jump on and let us know if there's anything we need to cover, or if not, we can wrap it up.